Alright, so we are looking at the newer camera cooling fan, the CA155. So this is just the box that it comes in. Nothing special. Just shows the picture of it. Cool. Open this up. Alright, move that over really quick. So here we have just the guide. Nothing too special about that. Alright, so then we have the actual fan itself. So we have this. And then it also comes with a USB to USB-C wire. So this is the cooler. You can see it's spring loaded, so it'll fit into a bunch of cameras. You have to check the list for yours. I have the A7S III, so that's the Sony. So we have that. We have the power charger, or the power whatever, USB-C adapter. We have the button to turn it on, and that's pretty much it. There's nothing on the sides. The back is just the fan. So yeah, not too much. So if we hit the button, hold it down, it'll turn on. It tells you in Celsius. So we have one setting, and then two settings. So it is actually louder on one to me than it is on two, but I think it's because just the fan is moving slower for some reason. Well, not for some reason, but it's moving slower. But for some reason, it sounds a little bit louder when it's moving slower. Let me see if you can hear that. So that is the setting number 1. And then this is setting number 2. So I'm not sure if you could hear it or not. It's not loud at all, but like I said, it just sounds a little bit louder on setting 1 than it is setting 2. So like I said, we have an A7 III here, A7S III here. So you just take this, and this has a little nudge right here, nudge, whatever we want to call it, and that just goes where the screen is, and then you just clip that on. So we have that. So that kind of locks it in. I mean, it does move a little bit, but that little notch kind of locks it in so it doesn't fall off completely. It actually holds on pretty well. I didn't see if there was a thing. Oh, okay, there is little grooves here, so it just clips onto the where the screen clips onto. So you have it's not gonna fall off. It will probably slide like this a little bit, but it won't. You can't tug it off. You can't even pull it off. You gotta pull really hard. But so yeah, if you do that, it'll come off. But it's in there pretty good. So you would just turn the fan on. Yeah. So I would keep it on 2, just because, I mean, it'll kill your battery a little quicker, but it's actually a little more silent. I don't think your camera would pick it up anyways, to be honest. So there we go. Let me see. I don't know if you can hear it. It's not loud at all. So you still have a little bit of a movement for your screen. Can't really close it, but yeah, there you go. So that'll work. Fits nicely. Like I said, it does fit on other cameras. It fits on a bunch of other cameras. You just have to go look in the description of the page and see which cameras it fits, because it does fit a good amount of cameras. But there you go. Keep your camera cool. I never really had overheating problems with this camera anyways, but in the summertime, if you're outside, it'll definitely help you out.
Hello there, my friends. Tim Lee, Legacy Tech Studio. Today we're talking about fans, and thankfully I have a good story to tell you today. This is my Fujifilm X-T2, and you can see it's quite rigged up here. Problem with this camera is that it only has a recording time of 30 minutes. Now, let's get right to the point. It will record for 30 minutes, but at a certain point in time, the camera will absolutely overheat. And once it does, then you have to wait for it to cool down before it can even start recording again. And that's rather shameful. What has helped me is exactly what we're talking about today, and that is this NEEWER CA155 fan. Now, you can see I got this quite rigged out, and I've even invented this 3D print here that is a way to ventilate air down to the back of the camera, and I designed that, 3D printed that. But let's get this out of the way and talk very quickly about this lovely little fan. Now, here's the thing. I find it doesn't push a lot of air. I can turn it on here, and certainly it'll make a little bit of noise, but barely. I mean, it's on. Super quiet. Don't know if you can hear it. So while it is incredibly quiet, which is great because you're mounting it on your camera, the part that I notice is it doesn't have a lot of air. I can put my hand here and I can feel the air, and it's nice and cool. It's cooler down here in the tech basement, but the reality is this fan's blades aren't really grabbing a lot of air to do this, so it's very it's just not very powerful. Okay, so there aren't a lot of options when it comes to this kind of stuff, but the fan blades, while I look in here, they seem very reasonable, but at the same time, they just don't grab a lot of air as they do this. Now, I will tell you that this guy here is a great fidget spinner. Yeah, he'll do that a lot, but it does work. It does work, and the only reason I can tell you that is because I have taken my camera, and while it has a 30-minute recording limit off of its grip and a 15-minute recording limit not on the grip, I've recorded in 4K at 30 frames per second, 5 individual videos in a row. So 30 minutes goes by, camera shuts down, boop, started over again, blah, 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 for 5 times. And I just quit because I was tired of doing it for 4.5 hours. It works great, and it keeps going. So this absolutely does work, though it doesn't push a lot of air. It pushes just enough to get you by. So if you're wondering about getting this guy, I would advise maybe try to find something with a little bit more power to it, even if it has a little extra noise. I mean, the reality of 90% of this is you really should be running your audio not on the camera anyway, so a fan that has a little bit more power might behoove you. But in saying that, if you're going, well, hey, you know what, this would suit you just fine, you say it works, I'm just going to do that, I totally support you in that. It makes sense. So this is the model CA155, the input of 5 volts, 2 amps. The battery is a 3.7 volt, 250 milliamp hour battery. Yes, there is a battery built in here. And then for me, because I do everything V-mount, as you can see, there's a lot of wires and nonsense going on here, I can immediately mount my fan back into this little 3D print that I designed for it, plug in the power supply, and then plug that USB into my V-mount. So literally, this camera will go non-stop, other than its own internal recording limits. It'll go for forever. So I'm very pleased, well, as long as the V-mount battery does, I'm pleased with it. I think it does a good job. Doesn't quite push as much air as I would like, but at the same time, it does push enough air. And yes, it does help keep it nice and quiet so that you can get your filming done and not be obnoxious, and more importantly, not have audio in your camera if you're using field audio from your camera instead of doing something of this nature, which you should be doing anyway. So it sounds better, trust me. So there you go. We'll leave it at that. CA155 does a job. Just could use a little bit more oomph. You know, oomph. Okay. Keep it crispy, my friends. God bless you all. We'll see you next time we're here on Legacy Tech Studio. Bye.
This is my review of the CA155 by NEEWER. It is a spring-loaded camera cooler. It's designed to fit on the back plane behind the LCD. Most cameras have a fold-out function, and this has a spring-loaded section here that allows it to fit pretty much any camera. So I've got it on an anemometer at feet per minute. Okay, it's on. And here is one. Just running at around 216 feet per minute. Now we're moving to 2. That's 236 feet per minute. Hang on, let me put it on the back of the camera and show you how it works. So, whoop, there we go. So this is on the back of a GH5, and you can see it's running. It actually fits right there with the hinge, which is kind of cool. It's got the notch there, and then it's spring loaded against the other side. So this does fit a very wide range of cameras. And I have fans like this, but I prefer to run it with a battery to make sure it lasts a while. I used something very similar to this on an event where the camera ran for, I think, 6 hours straight. No glitches, and the camera was cool to touch when I got done using it. I love these things. These things are amazing. So, on the highest speed, this is probably going to last you about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. That's why I always recommend to do hook up this way. But if you're running and gunning, if you're just going to go and grab some quick footage, yeah, you can do this out in the heat of the day and not worry about your camera glitching. I was filming a wedding many years ago. It was a very hot summer day. Filming a wedding, I was on the bride, and my camera overheated and glitched. I lost all of the wedding footage, so I thought. But I was able to recover it, but what a nightmare that could have been averted by this. So, I'm really loving this. It's definitely going to be something that's going to stay in my camera bag, so I can always, keep my cameras cool. So, definitely you get this. It has decent airflow. Unfortunately, my anemometer will not pick up, what I can feel here with my finger, because it's just not that sensitive. I actually had to get it started just by blowing out a little bit, but here it is. It matches the color of my camera, which again is a GH5, and I'm pretty happy with it. I've got versions of this that actually have a active cooling system, and I'm kind of nervous about those because it does create condensation, and I don't want that to happen to the inside with the sensor. So this is probably the better way to go. But yep, definitely keep your camera cool and keep rolling.